Hello, fifth graders. Mrs. Lee is going to teach you the nature mask lesson this week. This lesson will be perfect for the fall break because this is something that you do have to go around outside and collect the nature stuff. Okay. Before I keep talking about it, let me just show you my finished nature mask. So here's an example that I made. Are you ready to see it? Okay, here we go. Ta-da! Okay, so you're making something like this, okay? And we have to, of course, collect leaves and stuff, but the base is made of paper, okay? So first I'm going to teach you how to make the paper base. Now, since the school will be closed during the fall break, I cannot provide you with any materials for this. But don't worry, you can just use paper plate, okay? Like dinky, cheap, good old paper plate. Okay? Cheaper ones work better for this. Don't use the thick, decorative, expensive paper plate. Okay? Just plain good old paper plate. Those bumps, you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, we can just ignore that. Okay. Now, if you don't want to use paper plate, there are some other options like poster board if you do have them at home, or you can even use the cereal box. And anything that's kind of sturdy, okay, and strong enough would work. So don't use a copy paper, don't use a wrapping paper, or in the other end, the too thick paper, like cardboard, you cannot use that either. It's just too hard to deal with, okay? And the size of this paper plate is 9 inches in diameter. That's the standard size. So if you're cutting the poster board or cereal box paper, just use it like a dinner plate or something, and then trace the circle shape, okay, and then that's what you can use. And after you get your paper ready, now first thing you have to do is locate the center of the plate, okay. Now to do this, you can be very specific by measuring using the ruler and measuring the distance, or you can just give it a best guess. Either way would work, okay? And then put the mark in the middle, okay? And then from one spot, it does not matter where, just decide just one spot and cut the straight line directly to the center, okay, like that, okay? And overlap the cut edge. I would say about an inch or inch and a half. Don't go like 2 inches like this. This will be really hard to work with. So maybe like that. And then you will need a stapler, okay, and staple the very edge. Maybe 2 locations, left and right, okay, like that. Okay. And then go in with a stapler and staple one spot that's closer to the center, like this. Okay, and if we need to fortify those spots later, we can staple 1 or 2 more staples later. All right, and there is actually another way to cut it. Okay, so here is another version. So the center spot is the same, but this time you cut here, one here, shorter line, up to this inner circle. That's about 2 inches. And you do that top and the bottom, like this, okay? And then you staple, this will be about a 1 inch overlap, top and the bottom, like that, okay? So you can use this version. This will have more of a flat center part. Okay. Either version would work. Okay. And after you do that, then we have to locate the eyes and the mouth hole. So you hold the bottom of your paper plate and then hold it up against your face like this, okay? And then hold the pencil on one side, on the other side. And while you're holding the paper plate, you try to make a mark where your eye is. Start with the right eye and then do the same thing with the left eye. So you really have to guess. Go like this. Just pretending you're stabbing your eye. One more time, like that. Try to put the mark. And then you also mark your lips. To do that, you kind of stick your lips out like you're trying to kiss the inside of the mouth. And then try to locate the lip location and mark it. Okay, let me check how I did. Okay, so of course it happens. Mine is a little bit crooked. It's not symmetrical perfectly. So what you can do is make sure it's symmetrical left and right. And you just using the first mark as guideline and then draw the eye shape that you like, okay? And then we will draw the mouth shape that you would like. Like, oh, my first mark is super crooked, like that, okay? And when you do that, there are a few things that you have to be careful. First, your eye shape, I'm trying to look for the paper, can you tell? Oh, here it is, okay. Your eye shape has to be a little bit like somewhat closer to your real eye shape. It doesn't have to be super realistic, but you know, something like that would be good, okay? So that you can actually see through the mask. Okay, here a bad example. If it's too small, you cannot, you might end up covering your eyes. Or if it's too complicated like this, doesn't even look like your eyes, or too long or too tall, they're just not realistic for the mask making. Okay, and the lip shape, mouth shape, any of these shapes, frowning, smiling, surprised, whatever you like, but don't try to add fangs or anything like this. Okay, just keep it simple. All right, and another important thing is that you leave space between two eye holes, okay, enough space, which is at least 1 inch. Did you get that? Okay, 1 each apart. And then the bottom of the paper to the mouth has to have at least 1 inch space. Otherwise, your mask base is going to be super weak. It will not be able to hold all the weights from the leaves and nature stuff. All right, so those are the few things that you have to be careful. Now, once you located the eyes, you have to cut it out. To do that, you have to, this is a little bit tricky, but you can do it. You pinch it first, okay? And then cut a slit, and then you have a little hole there, right? And then you put the scissor tips through and go ahead and cut it out the shape that you like. And then you don't need this crumb anymore. You just toss that, okay? Cut all 3 holes. Okay. And then here is the finished version. Now this example is the different cut mask. Remember, short top and bottom one, but the eye location is the same. in that location, the way that you cut the eyes and the mouth is the same, okay? And then you cut 3 holes. And if you have the hole puncher, okay, you put 2 holes, left and right, closer to the side of the eye holes like this. And then 1 more on the very top. If you don't have a hole puncher, you can just, you know, use a pencil and then just poke a hole. Okay, and you put the rubber band through. Yeah, I use 3 rubber bands because I have a big head. Okay, but here's 3 rubber bands. And if you want to, you can put 1 rubber band for the top of the mask so that you can hang it, okay, display it later. Okay, and that's all you have to do to make the base. Now you take a plastic bag and go out and start collecting the nature stuff. You can use leaves. Make sure you have enough flat leaves. Okay, large flat leaves are important for this. And then you can start collecting berries, seeds, pine cones, acorns, whatever you want to use for this. Okay, but don't just go into somebody's yard and start stealing their flowers or anything. Okay, if it's a park or if it's coming out of the fence and it seems harmless, then go ahead and do it. Okay, and here are, okay, the steps that I have written for you. Here you go. Number 1, okay, cover the base paper with large flat leaves. Hey, can you read that? Is that too? Okay, so I have an illustration because I could not redo my mask for you. You know, I can't just start getting rid of things to show the vase, so I drew an illustration. So first you have to place all these big leaves to cover all the paper. See, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get rid of the evidence. Yes, I did use a cheap paper plate or cereal box. Okay, we got to cover it up with leaves so that we can get rid of that cheapness. Okay, and then after you do that, the number 2, okay, define eyes, nose, and the mouth. Okay, so it is important that you show clearly where the mouth is. See what I did for the mouth shape? I put the little blue berries around it so that you can see it better. And I did the same thing with eyes too. And I made sure that I have a big nose. This is a dried up sunflower, wild sunflower center part without seeds. Okay, and yeah, so you make sure these 3 parts will show up. And then number 3, this is the final one. Add interesting other features. Okay. By that I meant like hair, horns. I put whiskers there. And I do have a little, oh, this is upside down, sorry guys. So hair and the nose, and I put the beard right here, okay? And then, so some people, I did add berries too. And one thing that you have to remember to make mask is, this is the most important point here. You have to make it symmetrical. So everything has to be symmetrical. You know what I mean? Left and right the same, okay? And that's the key to the good mask making. Okay, now let me show you this one more time. So I put the orange berry here, and then same thing on the other side. I have 6 whiskers here, 6 whiskers here. I have 1 center part and then one left and one right there. So you know what I mean by symmetry, make it symmetrical. Okay, and to glue everything, you can use, of course, liquid Elmer's glue. Okay, that's the easiest one. Or if something is very hard to stay on, you can staple here and there. That's fine. Okay? Or if you're dealing with something very difficult like pine cones, or like on my mask, I use the hot glue gun for here, here, and here, and these two. Okay, so if you have a hot glue gun at home, okay, make sure you get a permission from a grown-up to use it, okay, and have adult supervision, okay, especially if your hot glue gun is a high temperature hot glue gun. Oh, you cannot believe how many burns that I had with this thing. I actually even have a burn right here from last time from making that thing. So don't be like Mrs. Lee, okay? Be very careful, okay? And maybe this is something you can do with your family member, okay? And you have a good fall break and have a great fun making nature mask. All right, I will see you again after the break. Okay, goodbye.